Beyonce and Jay Z just got caught up in Diddy's illegal mess, and word on the streets is that Diddy's lawyers allegedly have no issues throwing the Carters under the bus. Child, I know people have been talking about how Diddy and his team are desperate enough to throw people under the bus, but we never thought that Jay Z would be one of those people, at least not early on the trial. And get this, whatever is supposedly on those tapes are allegedly so bad that Beyonce is not sticking around and waiting for the fallout. What exactly is on those tapes that she's so terrified of us finding out? And whatever it is so bad that she might divorce Jay Z over it? Let's spill this tea. If you've been following this drama from the start, then you know why Jay Z and Beyonce have been tied heavily to the drama since the start. Jay Z and Diddy were so close that Diddy even revealed that Jay Z was one of the only two people in the world allowed to call him by his real name, Sean.
There's only one person.
Oh, go on.
And I call him Sean. That's Jay Z. We call each other Sean.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody else could call me Sean.
He's the only person who's Sean approved.
There's not a single person that
outside of family.
That should be outside of my mother.
Okay,
that should be calling me. Yeah, they should be calling me Sean.
Now, there were also some rumors about Beyonce knowing a little something about Diddy shenanigans. Still, we haven't really had a lot of receipts, so most of the suspicion has been on Jay Z. It looks like there might be some truth to this because word on the streets is saying that Beyonce is allegedly sick and tired of Jay Z's shenanigans, making her look bad, and she's about to cut herself loose. Blue Ivy's career is already budding, and Jay Z's shenanigans already cast a nasty shadow during the premiere of Blue's first film, Mufasa. Blue has been making a name for herself on the Cowboy Carter tour. I mean, can we talk about how Blue has been tearing it up on stage? There are also rumors that Blue might be dropping some new music soon, and Beyonce might not want Jay Z's negative attention on her baby girl. Word on the street is that she's already taken steps to call it quits, but she's doing it low key because messy breakups just aren't her thing. Love her or not, Beyonce has always kept her personal life under lock and key, and this whole divorce thing is no different. Can you really blame her though? She's got an image to maintain and 3 kids to think about. The last thing she needs is to have her name all caught up in the public drama. The streets are saying that Beyonce might be setting up a quiet exit strategy, something real low key, kind of like what Will and Jada Smith pulled. An insider claims she's planning to separate from Jay Z but wants to hold off on announcing anything until the trial is done and her tour wraps up. After that, she'll probably drop the whole "we've been apart for a while now, just focused on the kids" statement and keep it moving. And honestly, it's a smart play. She keeps her hands clean, looks like the devoted wife who didn't know a thing, and when the story finally hits the headlines, she can easily use all that attention to her advantage. Total power move. And let's be real, judging by all the whispers over the years about Beyonce and Jay Z's marriage, it wouldn't take much for her to flip the narrative in her favor. The Beehive's been practically screaming for her to walk away from him for ages. So if there was ever a moment to make that move, this might be it. Plus, there's always been some side eye about how things started between them. Folks have pointed out that Jay Z was pushing 30 when he first got involved with B, who was reportedly still a teenager at the time, around 16. And you know how that kind of age gap hits different when you look back with fresh eyes. In an interview, Beyonce spoke about their age gap saying, "I was 18 when we first met, 19 when we started dating. There was no rush. No one expected me to run off and get married." So according to her, they officially started dating when she was 19 and Jay Z was 31. But even though she was legal, the age gap still seems sus to fans. However, in another interview, Jay Z placed her age at 16 when they first met. In a 2007 interview with Charlie Rose, Jay Z mentioned meeting Beyonce 10 years ago, placing their first encounter in 1997. That was super shady because going by that timeline, Beyonce would have been only 16 years old while Jay Z would have been 27 or 28. Honestly, it's no shock that folks paint Beyonce as the victim in all this. The idea of a grown man in his late 20s chasing after a teenage girl, yeah, that's always going to raise eyebrows. And every time Jay Z gets dragged online, he's the one taking all the heat while B somehow floats above the drama untouched. People act like she's too pure to ever be caught up in the mess. But let's not pretend there haven't been whispers for years about her pulling strings behind the scenes, like allegedly using her status to make things harder for other artists. Still, she gets a pass time and time again. Meanwhile, Jay stays getting roasted. It's like she's been wrapped in this protective bubble and no one really questions her role in anything. Things really started to pick up last year when blogger Storm Monroe dropped some eyebrow-raising claims. According to his sources, Beyonce had quietly been laying the groundwork to leave Jay Z and was already mapping out her exit strategy behind the scenes.
But what I've heard about them as a couple is that they've been living separate lives for a very long time. So they together, but they living separate. And part of the reason why they're already living separate lives, and we may actually see one of the biggest divorces in Hollywood, is because Jay Z is up next to be exposed. And it's only so much of these stories that Jay Z can, he can pay off or he can block. He won't be able to stop this, and she knows it, and he knows it too. As far as who's gonna be the breakout victim / story, I don't know. Yeah, I might have to ask Jason Lee. I don't know. But I'm just letting you know that once that comes out and Jay Z is exposed for his nefarious past, you're gonna see Beyonce divorce him. Okay, and she may or may not do an interview, but you're gonna their publicist is gonna release something. She's gonna say, oh, the Carters have been separated for some time.
The Beehive was living for the idea of Beyonce finally cutting ties with Jay Z, especially after Storm Monroe spilled some hot tea about Jay possibly being caught up in some major legal drama. And this isn't just another messy celeb headline. We're talking Diddy level secrets that could shake the whole industry to its core. Storm's claims had the internet in a frenzy, but let's not act like he was the first one to sound the alarm. That credit goes to Jaguar Wright, who had already warned everyone last year. Right after Cassie's lawsuit made waves, Jaguar jumped in and said Jay Z was next, hinting that big moves were already in motion to expose his allegedly shady business. And now it's looking like the puzzle pieces are finally starting to fall into place. Looking back, that tight bond between Jay Z and Diddy starts to feel a little too convenient. You know what they say, birds of a feather flock together. And now, with whispers floating around that Jay might actually be worse than Diddy, that's the kind of rumor that sends a chill down your spine. Diddy's already knee-deep in serious allegations, so the thought that Jay could be hiding even darker secrets, terrifying. Really makes you wonder what some of these celebs are doing when the lights and cameras aren't on. For the longest time, people just brushed Jay Z off as the typical cheating husband, stepping out on Beyonce of all people. The nerve. And let's be real, Becky with the good hair was just scratching the surface. Word is there's a whole lineup of women he's messed with over the years. So if Beyonce really is planning her exit, I can't say anyone's surprised. But rumor has it that the last straw for Beyonce was when she allegedly found out that Jay Z and Diddy had been allegedly recording her against her will. Even worse, word on the streets is that her tape is among the many tapes that the feds seized when they raided Diddy last year, and now there's a high chance of the tape leaking. Interestingly, Jaguar Wright was one of the first to hint at Beyonce having a tape. Last year, she claimed that there was a tape out there showing Beyonce in a compromising situation and that Beyonce allegedly had no idea she was being recorded.
Because the Diddy. Ooh! Diddy done turned over tapes. Allegedly, with the Carters, is some freak off. And the Beyonce. How on the coke? And the tapes had jizz all over it. Hold on.
According to her, the whole thing was done in secret with a hidden camera catching everything without Beyonce's knowledge. This was backed up by lawyer Ariel Mitchell, who claimed that she was contacted by another client who wanted her to help broker the sale of a tape featuring one of the most prominent celebs in the industry. Ariel claimed that the celebrity was clearly not aware that they were being filmed.
I also was just recently contacted by someone who wanted me to essentially represent them in the sale of one of the Diddy tapes. So, which I declined that because...
Wait a minute, say that again. Say that again, back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
yes.
The shopping thing is
yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood. But one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of, and to contact the person who was in the video to see if they were interested in purchasing the video before it became a public knowledge.
I've heard this before, so like a catch and
correct.
Wow, can you, and I guess you can't reveal the person who is on
No, I
tape.
can't explain who the person was, but Mr.
High profile?
Mr. Combs was in the tape, and this other person is, I would venture to say, more high profile than Mr. Combs.
Really? Really? And you've seen it?
I've seen stills of the video.
Okay.
So
you can verify
that it exists, that it's real, that the other person in the video is very visible. It's no question if it's that person in the video. And I can tell the video was graphic in nature.
Oh my, all right. So we know that he videotaped a lot of activities at his home, Diddy. And it sounds like there was probably a lot of hidden cameras as well. Is that what is being talked about?
Yes, this was actually in his Atlanta home, at a home he had in Atlanta at one point. And it does seem that the person isn't like looking into the video, so it's, to me, doesn't seem like that person knows they're being videotaped. It doesn't seem like they're active participant in the videotaping, like they're being surreptitiously recorded it.
Yeah, that's super invasive, and if Beyonce eventually divorces over this, I don't think that anyone will blame her. Yeah, this is a messy situation, but let me know how you feel about this in the comments, and then check out this next video.